Robots. I can't sense robots.
Are you prepared for the kind of death you learned, little man?
Robots. I can't sense robots.
Are you testing kind of death you learned from Matt?
Welcome to S.W.A.T, otherwise known as Sentience, Watch, and Techtics. I am your host, Tim, Fortune 100 Information Technology Hall of Famer, and at 50 years old, a guy who's been using computers for as long as I can remember. Guys, thanks for being here tonight. Hit the like button. We're on 4 different platforms. We're on YouTube, Rumble, Kick, and Odyssey. And share the link out there. Repost on Rumble, hit the share button on YouTube, and then copy the link and go to your favorite social media platforms and share the link out there. We did a SWAT way back in March during the big creator program month, but it's back. We want to do this more often. There's a lot going on. We'd already planned on doing this a few weeks ago, but some big news has come out just in the last couple of days that we're going to go over. So really excited to get into this stuff. And just like last week, we're going to go for an abbreviated stream and hopefully even more abbreviated than last week. So we're going to shoot for, maybe hour and 45 minutes at most, and be thinking about this. Just bring one movie or television show, or even an episode of a television show that's centered around robots, AI, technology, whatever. I have one, and it's an unorthodox pick. We'll get that later on in the stream in the segment called Enter to AI-ment tonight. I don't even know how to say that. Enter to AI-ment tonight. Anyway, you'll see it, and we'll talk about that stuff. So just come up with one example, because we don't want to blow our proverbial wad all in one night. Every time we do a SWAT, you can have a different episode or movie that you can talk about. All right, let's see whom we have with us tonight. Showing up on the YouTube side, we've got King Chris, super member. Thanks for being there, Chris. Thanks for always being here and modding. And we're definitely a USA stream. We're definitely an American channel. Gabriel Knight with the robot emojis. We got to get some custom emojis going. I keep saying that. We have some on USA, but we got to get some on S.W.A.T and all the other channels. We got Stezo for life, longtime supporter, super member, showing up in the chat tonight. We got Mike C showing up on the YouTube side. Thanks for being here, Mike, for SWAT. We got S.W.A.T over there on the Rumble side. Longtime supporter at this point. Thanks for sticking around for so long, S.W.A.T. You had one, but the show was ruined for me by McStraw. I don't get that reference. Maybe you can explain that later on in the chat. Tim has run out of pronounceable segment names. Yeah. Enter to AI-ment tonight. Something like that. Stezo has a good one. I'm sure Greg, Lost Jedi, can come up with a good one too. So yeah, guys, share that link out there for all the platforms. And thanks for being here tonight. This is something we want to get into a lot more and more because it is a relevant topic. Lots going on in this realm. We can talk about entertainment all the time. We can talk about what's going on in politics, but what's going on with AI? And this really isn't new news, as I've shared in the past. The march toward AI really started getting serious like in 2006. I was at an eye doctor's office and I picked up a Discover magazine that was sitting on one of the tables, and it started talking about the technological singularity. So I didn't like Discover, so I subscribed to Popular Science, sister magazine of Popular Mechanics, kept up with it ever since. This stuff is coming. Is it going to come sooner than we think or later? It depends who you ask. Back then, they were saying 2042. Then it was 2035. Now some people are saying by 2032. It's only 6 years away. Think about that. 6 years away from now, COVID was 6 years in the past. Not that far away. It's a little bit scary. You know, we're not going to cover data centers this show, but I did see some stuff out there where the left is now finding ways to tax the shit out of it. Like, yeah, go ahead and let them have their data center. Let's tax it because that'll be popular, right? It'll be popular in the communities where these data centers are being built. At least they think so. Discover was a great... Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the politics of it. Popular Science and Popular Mechanics were by no means right-wing publications, but at least they were a little bit more measured, and they didn't have any, at the time, like Bush derangement syndrome or anything like that. They were a lot better to read. In fact, I have a stack. I checked this weekend. I was looking for some other magazines. I'm trying to find my Nintendo Power stack. I think I actually have it, ironically, over here on the bookshelf, and I just didn't look in one of the little magazine racks. But I have this huge box of National Review, Popular Mechanics, Popular Science. It's good to keep magazines. I should have kept all mine from the 80s and 90s as well. Had a lot of Thrasher magazines. That was like a skateboarding magazine. WWF magazines, stuff like that. Yeah, the date is as predictable as Blake's stream weigh-in. Yeah, good point. And that reminds me, we've got to do some wrestling streams. So much awesome content is out there on the WWE Vault. There have been data centers for a long time. It's a distraction. Yeah, and the thing is, the computing power needed, the electricity needed to run all this AI. That's what's driving the construction of the huge data centers. And some of it is for a competitive purpose, right? Like we're trying to compete. We'll get into this, the main topic, with China. But some of it's, hey, we got to have all this data so Justin, the Star Wars Marvel purist, can log in and make like a funny picture about Star Wars theory. You know, that's just one example. Like, people are just doing crazy stuff with AI, and it takes computing power. And that's fine. Like, there's plenty of property, there's plenty of real estate. And if somebody wants to sell it and allow someone else to build a data center on it because now they own that property or they're leasing it, then that's fine with me. I just think it's hilarious that some of it is around creating funny pictures versus actually developing capabilities that'll compete with the biggest threats we have globally. This stream is using a data center now. Yeah, you're exactly right. And here's the thing, like cloud, you know, that was the big thing 8 years ago. 2017, 18, everyone is into cloud, right? Cloud. Put it on the cloud. Software as a service, all this stuff. You don't have to have on-prem. That's short for on-premises servers. Just put it in the cloud. It's still a damn server. It's slower. It's susceptible to connection issues, security issues. And the fact that it's concentrated, Here's a little bit of an anecdote here, but where I used to work, where my face is permanently ensconced on the wall of the main IT building as a Hall of Famer there, we ran into a little issue because at the time, the strategy was put everything on the cloud. We're not buying new software unless it's on the cloud. The fucking cloud. You better use the fucking cloud. That was the strategy. And it was just because it was a trend. That's what the IT leadership wanted to do, even if it was more expensive. So you narrow down how many cloud providers are capable of handling the volume of big companies, right? So they had selected Amazon, AWS, Amazon Web Services, right? Well, we did business with Walmart, and Walmart wasn't having that. No, we're not having our data on AWS because, as we know, Walmart and Amazon, huge competitors, right? So they had to go to Google. I can't ever remember what Google was called at the time, their cloud service. It might have changed to something else. This is 8-9 years ago. It's been a while. So they had to go purchase space from Google just for all of Walmart's data. And here's the thing. I have no reason to believe that if you're using these cloud services, that the people that own the storage, AWS, Amazon, whatever, Walmart, Google, they don't necessarily have access to the data. It's just that you're storing it on their server. But Walmart wouldn't have that, and more money had to be paid because you're buying storage in lower volume. So it was more expensive. So cloud was a fad, just like software as a services. All these little companies that popped up, especially in the Silicon Valley and the Silicon Prairie, a lot of them are gone now. Oh, we have this fucking app and it's so great, and it usually sucked. And they were trying to solve for stuff that didn't necessarily need a solution. And idiots were just buying these apps left and right. Oh, we have a mobile app, and yeah, the mobile app is worse than the PC one. But it's the latest trend. But AI, I don't think it's a trend. Like, it's been talked about for 20 years. We're at a crossroads now. We're at a crossroads before we get to AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. Well, hey, you don't leave until you get there, right? Ban tractors, they're taking horse breeders, hand pillow manufacturers, and hand plow operators' jobs. Yeah, sabotage. The panic over data centers is driven by lifelong and capable do nothing. Okay, you need a hyphen there. Losers who hate builders and producers that are infinitely better than them. Yeah, hard to disagree there. So that's what we're going to get into today, guys. Thanks for being here tonight. And again, make sure you hit that repost button on Rumble. S.W.A. always does it. Gabriel Knight does it. Justin does it because he knows how it is trying to build your channel on all these platforms. Just hit that repost button. It's like a little recycle icon, and you have to use 3 characters. So just, put 3 exclamation points and then hit the repost button. All right. Thanks again, guys, for being here. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's get into what we're going to get into. All right. The main topic is China. We're going to cover it in 2 different segments. There's a lot going on just in the last 7 days around artificial intelligence in China. So I'm going to have my esteemed guest on later, and we're going to get into that stuff. And then something I want him to talk about as carefully as he can. We want to talk about AI being too big to fail. Remember that term that we heard about 15 years ago? Maybe it's been longer than that. 17 years ago, 2009. A couple of segments. We're not going to do the same segments every week, just like on S.W.A.T, but we're going to do heat map in just a minute here. I think you guys will like that one. And then we're going to do flying cars and a cure for cancer. So that ought to be fun. King Chris says, grab the link and go share it out. Yeah. Like right click, copy link address, right? And go share it out there. We got to grow the channel because this is important stuff and we have important stuff to say about it. Faux show. But yeah, flying cars and a cure for cancer, in the 80s, elementary school, we were told year 2000 we'll have all this. It's 2026. It's 2026. So we're going to look at some hilarious stories about what's going on with technology. So that ought to be great. All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring on in, as I switch back to the regular scene here, bring in my guest before we get into the heat map. Welcoming back to the channel, we have Gabriel Knight in the house. Thanks for being here, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I can't believe it's already been, what is it, April, May, June, July, 4 months since March, and we did kind of like I don't know what you want to call it, like a prototype show.
Yeah,
It's
test run, I
already
guess.
been, 4 months already. Time flies, man.
I know we're already, the year's already over, halfway over, right? We're already almost into August.
I know, man, and at work, it's like we're doing okay. Last year was a disaster, but this year still is a disaster compared to 2024. But
Yeah.
year over year, we're doing pretty good. So everyone's kind of holding their breath and hoping we finish the year strong and we actually get a bonus. So
Nice.
that didn't happen last year, and there were a lot of pissed off people. So we're hoping that everything goes well with that. But yeah, it's been a while, and after March, I mean, I was burned out. It's like 25 shorts and all these live stream hours and videos and all this stuff. Like, I was burned out. I'm like, this is not sustainable. So I'm going to take some time off and redesign a lot of stuff. Everyone's seen the last, 4 or 5 Scourge of Tyranny installments we've done since late June. And then this show here. We're going to do some other stuff, maybe a member stream next Sunday, but took some time off and just kind of redesigned some stuff. And you were a big help in a lot of that. And we kind of talked about the heat map a little bit, but I went ahead and had Grok do it. And somehow it successfully did it because I've been having issues with Grok over the past, I'd say, 2 or 3 months. It was pretty damn good in late 2025, but it's been like shitting out on me a lot. Are you still subscribed to premium on Grok?
I am, and it's mostly been for the the Imagine feature. The AI video. Like that's actually gotten pretty good. But yeah, I've been using it less for the prompting for questions and stuff like that. I've got other services I've been relying on as a big part of that, but but not been using the prompting features much. Mostly just the videos.
Yeah, I'm going to try to find like what is my go-to solution. I've never tried premium before, but the basic service has definitely declined since late
Yeah, I
last
mean,
year.
you can't even use a lot of you can't use Imagine anymore unless you get the subscription. And the only reason I even subscribe to it is because they have a sale where it's basically 3 months for $30. It's usually $30 a month, but they have a sale going on, so that's the biggest reason I resubscribed.
Yeah, that I want to use it for certain business reasons, and then I want to use AI for creative purposes. And I know that Grizzy has access to this weird one that like gives you access to others because I'm paying, I don't know, $10 a month for Suno, and it makes a lot of good music. Like
Oh,
the
sure.
music at the beginning of this show was made using Suno. It took about 4 tries, but it got to where I wanted it to be based on my inputs. So I got to find out what he's using there. But just in my everyday life, like I want to pick the right one, and I lean toward Grok because it's more truth centered. I mean,
Right.
when Elon came out with it, he said in no uncertain terms that's what he wanted the platform to be. I don't want to use Chat GPT and all those others that are politically correct, but I want to be able to have, like, I was driving home one time from a trip to the office 3 hours away, 4 hours away, and I just had like Grok turned on, and it started getting really windy, and I'm like, "Hey Grok, what is the wind speed where I'm currently at?" And I got an answer. It was like, "Oh, it's wind gusts of 55 miles an hour," and I'm like, "Okay, that's what I thought." I want something like that, but I don't think Grok can keep up, at least the standard one, and it's not giving me an incentive to buy the premium if the standard one doesn't even work. And it's not just that it doesn't give me access, it gives me wrong information a lot of times, and I'll
Right.
correct it. It's not as bad as Copilot, which we use at work, which is just absolute dog shit. Microsoft Copilot, avoid at all costs. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I agree. I never use Copilot like I've kind of told you in the chats, but yeah, it's next to never.
OpenAI, Stizo says, yeah, and in a pinch, I've had to use Chat GPT. I need this now, and I do it. But I have never tried OpenAI. And don't forget, Elon started OpenAI, right? And then he voluntarily left when they were just planning stuff that he didn't agree with. And then a bunch of lawsuits happened, and I think they're still going on. I think he has an appeal out there against OpenAI. And I think they might have countersued. That's a whole stream in and of itself. Mike C says the J.I. Acup and Banjo Boy CDs are bangers. Yeah, I mean Suno it's brilliant, and I didn't just say make CD. You have to give it directions, and you can't use other artist names. Make this sound like the Backstreet Boys or something like that. You have to get smart with it. I wrote all the lyrics myself, stuff like that. So Suno is one of those ones where it's almost miracle technology. But at the end of the day, it's like we're making funny stuff. It's like a lot of computing power is going toward that. And I feel like I'm not paying that much, $10 a month. And I'm getting like a
It's
lot of
nothing.
access. Good deal for me, but right, is it really paying the bills at whoever the hell owns that software? I don't know.
Oh, we're having fun with it. I know that much.
Oh yeah. A lot of fun. Grok Premium is worth it. They water down the free version to push people to the premium one. I may try it, Chris, because quite frankly, for work about 2 months ago, I had to get something done, sent myself a file, nothing confidential in it. It was data, but it was all publicly available data. And I'm like, hey, Grok, do this with the data. And it did it in 60 seconds. Whereas Copilot couldn't understand the instructions, tried it once, totally failed, tried again, said, oh, I got it, and still didn't get it. And I'm like, nope, I got to get this done. And regular Grok did get it for me. So I may have to try it just to give the premium version a shot out of fairness.
Isn't Copilot mostly just designed to help, like, you kind of like utilize Word and Excel for the most part? Even then, I feel like it sucks.
No, I mean, I have it do all kinds of stuff like sourcing, like, hey, find this product or find the actual manufacturer of this product. And if it doesn't outright answer it, it puts me on the right path.
Yeah.
I had Grok do the same thing one time, and it outperformed Copilot. Like, it's embarrassing. Microsoft, like one of the first big tech firms, right?
Yeah.
And they have pretty much the worst mainstream AI model, in my
Yeah. They're way
opinion.
behind.
Ciso doesn't use AI when I'm looking for anything true. I haven't seen any one of them to be non-biased. Yeah, like I always crack up at Jock Nerdy. What does he call himself? The retro respective guy, because he was arguing about Disney Star Wars being canon with it, which is pretty hilarious because all the stupid app is doing is looking at, the web and seeing what's out there. Obviously, they didn't watch any United Spacers Alliance videos to get the true answer to that. Oh, yeah. And speaking of the devil, Justin is in the house saying, "What's up?" Yeah, it is authentic. I mean, I have to use it because I need to get certain things done. I just find a workaround to make it actually work. Yeah, Xbox. We had a couple of those in our house. My son had the original. He had all of them. In fact, I think the latest one. What is it? What is the latest Xbox?
Series X or something like that. I don't know.
No, he doesn't have that one. He has the one. I think Xbox One.
Xbox One. That was the previous one.
He's got that in the room next door for whenever he doesn't want to take it to where he lives, but whenever he comes over here and maybe spends the night, he'll get online and play some games. He'll still play KOTOR and all that stuff.
Oh, nice.
20 years later, because I didn't want to play KOTOR in 2006. I wasn't like a gamer, so I wanted the story. So he's like 5 or 6 years old, right? I'm just watching him play and I'm telling him what to do, and we get the whole story and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Sony is superior.
I agree with
Series
that, but
X.
it's kind of after this current generation, I'm not quite sure what the point in buying a console is if it's all digital. It's just like, might as well just buy a laptop or a computer, a gaming computer.
Yeah, Greg would agree with you on that one for sure.
Well, that's just, I mean, at this point, all the very rarely are any of the unless it's like Nintendo. I mean, everything is cross-platform as far as the games, and now it's even if you want to play multiplayer, like everything is cross-platform. So I'm just like, what's the purpose now?
There it is. All right, yeah, but let's get into this heat map. I'll tell you guys what it is. Let me get it pulled up. Take me about 16 seconds here.
Heat map.
All right. So what this is, guys, and I'm going to try and get a better visual. I don't think it's too bad, though, of where the hot spots are of AI development right now in the world. That's basically what we're looking at here. Seattle, and you can see the key down here. Extreme is in red, high is in the orange, and then medium high in the yellow. So obviously, San Francisco Bay Area, Seattle, New York City, London, and then, of course, Beijing. You got some activity going on in Israel and United Arab Emirates. Really not too surprised at any of these locations. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the Silicon Valley against Beijing and Shanghai. Would you disagree with that?
I'd agree. Kind of surprised there's really nothing around Japan.
Well, yeah, I mean, these days you really don't hear a lot about Japan and technology, which is interesting because I know you're a little bit younger than I am, but early 90s, like the whole Japan scare that was going on about the yen taking over the dollar and all this technology, and then all that, the bubble just burst in the early 90s after all that. Remember Rising Sun, the novel by Michael Crichton? They made a horrible movie out of it. I was excited for the movie because I loved the book. I got the book right over there on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, this movie. And I'm like, all right, I can take the main character Peter Webster in the book, but they changed it to
Wesley Snipes.
yeah, Webb Smith. Okay, that's fine. I can do it. And then Sean Connery, hell yeah, But yeah, they totally changed the story. The villain, the actual murderer in the book was one of the Japanese guys, but in the movie they made it that white senator who was working with the Japanese because they had no courage.
Yeah.
But yeah, Japan though, you really don't hear a lot about. You still got Panasonic and Sony and all these other big tech conglomerates, but you really don't hear a lot about them
Yeah.
these days. And I don't know if it's just because of the economics of it. They probably just don't have the big funding to make a push for this, or they're allies like us. They let us do the work.
Yeah. Like, a lot of it's the latter. Plus, I don't know. You keep hearing about their bond markets like teetering on collapse. But yeah, I don't. I wonder if part of it might be just because it's an island country and they probably don't have the space for the data centers. Might have something to do with it too.
Yeah, and you've seen obviously pictures of Japanese cities, and they go vertical a lot. They don't have the
Yeah.
sprawl as much, so you'd have to build something like that. Like when I was my day after Thanksgiving discussion I had with Grok, I've gone over that before. One of the tangents we went off on was like vertical stack buildings, whether it's for data farming or real farming. Are
Yeah.
we going to save space by having some kind of building with multiple floors that are all hydroponics, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I say
very scarce.
a little surprised by Tel Aviv, or Israel's got that much activity.
Well, here's the thing, like, this isn't Scourge of Tyranny, but that country is always going to do whatever they have
Right.
to try and stay ahead of the curve just
Yeah.
for survival. And a lot of that is funded by us and a few others.
Hmm.
And I think they do have some smart motherfuckers over there too that have figured out a lot of
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Like there's secret weapons technology that they've developed as far back as like 20 years ago, like shields on, Star Wars and Star Trek. They had something like that they were working on for tanks. And I saw this freaking video, and this little shell was fired at a tank, and it just like hit a wall about 4 feet from the tank. And it's like, what the hell is that? Some kind of electromagnetic field type thing. So they're developing crazy ass shit in Israel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, anywhere else in the world, anywhere in Africa, nah, not really. I don't expect that. Moscow, they're a little preoccupied. I think
Yeah.
a lot more.
Russia's got nothing. They're way behind.
Yeah, they bit off a lot more than they could chew with Ukraine. They're dealing with.
Yeah.
Um,
Nothing in India doesn't look like.
no, At least it doesn't come up on the radar. So, and again, they've had economic problems, and they're probably relying on partners to do a lot of that stuff. It's not that they're not developing something; they're just not on the heat map. And there's a lot of data that goes behind this. And next time we can kind of pull that up. But I'd like the map to actually show the globe. I should have specified that to Grok, but you can kind of tell position wise where it's at. I tried to do an overlay and it's not to scale. So even if I shrunk the map, none of it lined up. So next time we do one of these heat maps, we'll definitely have all that stuff. But yeah, interesting to see. It's really Seattle / Silicon Valley versus the Chinese
Yep.
that we've got going on here. Uh, Stezo says they can't put data centers in India. Trains will crash into them. Yeah. Or, you could put them over here, but then the Indian truck drivers would crash into them. Russia is bringing Africans to fill the ranks. Is that right? I didn't know that.
First I've heard of it.
Should do the same to Portland. Gaza has plenty of real estate for a data center now. Looking for that Ithorian aggregate. Yeah, that's a great reference. But don't forget that Ithor was rendered useless by the Yuzhan Vong. Oh, it's a spoiler. Yeah, it's 25 years later, motherfuckers. There is no spoiler 25 years later. Sorry. But yeah, that's the heat map. And with China being up there, we're going to go ahead and get into that topic. But to start out, I wanted to watch this short that The Economist put out. There's a really long interview with Elon. You have to subscribe to get the full interview. But they put out snippets on Facebook Reels, on YouTube Shorts. I don't know if The Economist is on Rumble or not. But
Don't think so.
neither do I. But let's check this out here. I'm going to do the Brave tab with audio. That's the easiest way to do it. And it's interesting what he says here when he's directly asked about China. Let's do it this way. Here we go.
About the Chinese catching up and getting ahead?
Given that the Chinese AI companies are doing as well as they are with a relatively small amount of compute, it seems though as that if they had a lot of compute, there's a good chance that they would be the leaders.
And what he means by that, guys, is computing capacity. He's just kind of talking in the lingo of the industry he's in.
And at some point, they probably will have a lot of compute.
Ergo, they will be the leaders.
There's a good chance that they are the leaders at some point. You can think of like the constraints on AI are essentially electricity and AI chips. And then for physical AI, the robots. China's also got some very good robot companies. China's very strong on robots, very strong on digital AI. And if you look at electricity production, you can say like AI is a function of whatever the limiting factor is, if it's chips or electricity. China has far more electricity than the United States. In fact, China has more electricity than the United States, Europe, and India combined already, and is heading to, and my guess is China gets to 4 times the electricity production of the US, which is roughly proportionate to the population.
What should the US government do about this? I mean, if you presumably it is a little alarming if you have an authoritarian regime far ahead in the most powerful technology. And clearly what the US government's been trying to do is, with the export controls and so forth, keep China back. Do you think they should ban the use of K3, Kimi K3, for example?
Well, the US government can't, they can pass some law that prevents US companies from using Chinese models, but they can't stop the rest of the world from using them. So it's not like the US government has authority over China or the rest of the world.
Do you think they should stop US companies from using them? There's talk of that right now, right?
I don't think that helps. That won't stop China from being the leader in AI.
So he brought up the chips, and if you'll remember, like 4 years ago, there was a ban on selling the chips to China. Well, they made them anyway. They basically retrofitted the existing manufacturing equipment, and then they even smuggled some in that they could technologically clone, and they were able to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the ban on them, it's almost like it forced them to innovate and make them better, make themselves better at creating AI. And then I've got some stories pulled up here, but they've used some other methods to train the AI and to develop it and to make it just as good. This Kimi, latest version of it, just as good as American AI or better, which is pretty scary. But I think that he has a good point that, yeah, I mean, okay, go ahead and ban it, but everyone else is going to be using it. So
Right.
what does that really achieve in the end? I think using it enables us to kind of see where they're at as well.
Right. Um, and I don't know. It doesn't matter if you ban it. You got so much espionage going on in this country that I mean, it's just going to steal it anyway. Which I think that's why they're able to develop a lot of these models at such a cheap cost, is because they're just stealing our stuff anyway and piggybacking off of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But it's interesting that he admitted that they could be the leader at some point. Even he almost said that they would be the leader at some
Yeah.
point. When you have the infrastructure, and he didn't bring this up, but I've seen, at least not in this part of the clip, but I've seen other outlets talking about they have the labor, right, to
Mm-hmm.
build the infrastructure needed, whether it's electricity generation or uh, the data centers themselves.
Right. So after everybody over here is bitching about their data centers being built in their backyard, like, okay, well, China's not going to be having that problem, and they're going to be exceeding us.
So
Yes.
something
I was just going to say they're going to get built over there. They're not going to have angry people at their little town hall meetings.
exactly. So something they're doing, they're dumping these apps. They're flooding the market with them. Some of them free of charge. So businesses are experimenting with cheaper Chinese AI models as US rivals get more expensive. So someone said, someone in the Trump administration said it's AI communism. I've seen some leftist uh, financial outlets, if you can call them that, say that, oh no, it's AI capitalism because it's a pretty common tactic to flood a market with a free app to take share away from the rest. But no, I think that's bullshit because most AI apps from the United States are banned in China. Now, some people in China get around that by use of VPN, but when you're controlling, and you have the largest population in the world, when you're controlling US apps in your own country, and then you're flooding the market, including here in the US and other Western nations, with free AI apps, then that's definitely AI communism. So I think that the Trump administration, whoever said that, I think they have a pretty salient point there. Um, and there was that one company somewhere up in New York was using Moonshot, the Chinese AI app, and everyone's freaking out about it. And I think they should be because, yeah, you believe in a free market, but when your survival is on the line, when you have Elon Musk admitting that China will likely be the leader, and you have US businesses for just simply for cost switching over and not just trying Chinese AI models, but using them in perpetuity, I think that's a risk that we have to find some way to avert. So the case for banning isn't really to slow China down. It's to prevent security risks, and you got to fight back somehow. If
It's
they're
like,
if they're dumping these free apps into the market, how else do you fight them? Because do you tell the U.S. companies make yours free? Shit doesn't come for free. There's a cost to everything. But over there in China, we know there's a little bit different of a model when it's centrally planned.
right. Well, it's like with TikTok, we were, we had concerns about, you know, China owning that, but yet we're going to let them create their own chat GPTs that has all of our data and all this information we're feeding it. And I mean, it's already bad enough that chat GPT and Claude has all of our stuff and they train off of it. Now you're going to let the CCP have that too. So yeah, now it'd probably be better if we keep things in house as far as that.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. S.W.A. says, was outside a lot today, ended up getting a sunburn. I was literally sitting in, like the 95 degrees, but I really don't sunburn. Like sometimes I will, but within a day or two it turns brown. It's a lot of my Native American blood, I guess. TikTok is bad. Let's use Yeah, I mean, I don't use TikTok, not necessarily because of that concern, but it's part of it. I just don't like it. It's another app that I have to keep up with. China blades are the gateway drug. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The pre-World War II China. Let's see, which one am I on here? Financial Times here. NVIDIA and Palantir urge U.S. not to ban OpenAI models after China scare. U.S. tech groups and investors respond to calls for restrictions on advanced Chinese technology. So I read this earlier. Leading tech groups including NVIDIA, Palantir, Microsoft, and Meta have urged and that's Facebook, right, have urged the U.S. not to restrict open weight AI models as Washington threatens to target Chinese labs over fears of intellectual property theft. Open models, which users can customize and run on their own hardware, are popular among Chinese AI developers who have recently announced technical advances against U.S. rivals whose top-tier models are closed. The open letter on Friday, which argued policymakers should keep the AI frontier plural by avoiding premature restrictions on open models, was not joined by OpenAI, Anthropic, or Google, the three leading makers of closed AI models. The public plea comes amid an intensifying fight over the fate of open-weight models. Calls for a ban on Chinese AI models have grown louder this month after the release of Kimi K3 by Beijing-based Moonshot AI, whose capabilities stoked concerns about China edging ahead in an AI arms race both countries regard as critical to national security and prosperity. Michael Kratsios, director of the White House Office of Science and Technology, that's HOST, policy this week said U.S. has information that Moonshot used a process. This is what I was alluding to about 20 minutes ago, called distillation, which involves training a less powerful model using the outputs from a stronger one to develop its technology from Anthropic's latest Fable model. So what they did, this is the charge, and I don't think this guy from the White House Office of Science and Technology policy has provided any proof, but they basically needle Fable with a bunch of inquiries, like hundreds of them, and they're able to discern, okay, this is the model that they're using, and then they apply that to the chips, which I mentioned earlier. They have basically been able to produce by retrofitting the existing equipment because they don't have the newer equipment to create the AI chips that we do over here due to the ban put in place, I think, in 2022. So, again, the Chinese are finding ways to succeed every time we try to ban them. And I don't know I haven't read the letter, but I don't know why those companies would want to prevent the ban. I guess because they're afraid of a reciprocal response, possibly. But again, most U.S. AI apps are banned in China already, so we're already at a disadvantage.
Right. Yeah. Don't know.
And there was a Chinese app that helped. I can't remember which company it was. It helped them fight an attack, a cyber attack. So the fear could be that, hey, unless we're using every tool available out there, we may wind up being at risk for that. That could be some of their reasoning as well. Mostly my sunburn on the back of my neck and shoulders. Yeah, you redneck. Stizo, China blades are the only thing that comes from China that gets more expensive than American product. Capitalize that A, sir.
Well, you know,
And then,
I was just gonna say real quick, it's bad enough that China's making these strides on their own, but if they get their sights set on Taiwan, who's one of the leaders in semiconductors, if they were to capture Taiwan, it's like ugh, it could be really bad.
yeah, people have been talking about the potential invasion of Taiwan now for, gosh, what about?
20 years, and talking about it when I was in college.
Well, I mean, intensely, though, for about 5 years, I'd say 4 or 5 years. Oh,
Yeah,
it's going to happen next month. And it hasn't happened because my opinion is that Taiwan is worth more to China now, how it is, than if they had annexed them. I think they get what they need from Taiwan, and it's just the fact that they're quote unquote free, right?
hmm
And that's the only reason, because they'd want to bring them into the fold. But I think the way that the arrangement is now, I think that's worth more to China than if they had gone ahead and invaded and brought them into the fold. That's just my opinion.
That's a good point. Plus, just the invasion would be messy anyway.
Yeah. And this is pretty funny here, but this is really being pushed the last couple of days, the last week, on uh, AI being banned in China. It's because of these companions. And this is a long-standing thing. Birth rates in China have been down for at least 25 years. I got a book over there on the shelf I've talked about before called America Alone by Mark Stein, formerly of National Review. Good writer. He wrote that book kind of along the same veins as Pat Buchanan's book from the 90s, where it was all demographics around the
Death,
world.
death of the West.
And yeah, and China had a shortage of women at the time, and Russia had a shortage of men. And he was talking about in that book a potential alliance between those two countries where you get these 6-foot blonde women that are hooking up with these little Chinese guys and producing offspring, right? And it talked about in the book and elsewhere about a lot of homosexuality in China was making things worse. Well, now you got technosexuality going on here, right? So you got these these weirdos that instead of, and of course you're living in a communist country, but we have it happening here where these weirdos will sit in their parents' basement talking to this weird AI lover that they've created versus going out and meeting an actual person. So China is actually cracking down on it, banning it. I think that it's running cover for the real reason that they're banning, stuff like Grok and whatever else, because they don't want truth and they don't want any kind of sense of freedom getting out there in that authoritarian country. But I just
Yeah,
thought it was hilarious that this is the stated reason for it.
yeah. Well, we laugh at this now, but shoot, who's to say what in 20 years this won't be like the dating apps are today? Remember when dating apps first were a thing? That was like that's what desperate people did.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. But again, demographics are still a concern in that country, so they may have a valid reason for it, but we know the real reason that they're making all these bans. OpenAI ended up using ChatGPT for a romantic partner. I don't know. Is that true, Mike? I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, I think I
I,
heard something like that.
I wouldn't doubt it though. I wouldn't doubt it. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this first segment here. It's going to be pretty fun. I got some stories pulled up, just stuff you guys wouldn't believe. All right, here we go.
Flying cars and a cure for cancer.
First up, and these are stories, guys. You know, when we were kids in the 80s, we were told, oh man, you're going to be going to the moon and all this stuff. And then we get to 2026 and all we see are tech failures and just absolute clown stories like the one you just saw on the screen about a female sex robot being soiled. That was in the story at the time. So here's what we have in the last couple of weeks. Robot powered by Qualcomm's new AI chip folds like a fentanyl addict during presentation. And I love these guys, their reaction here. They're like, oh shit, get it back up. And if something's going to go wrong, it's always going to go wrong at the worst possible moment. Let's see if we can get this to play here. We don't need sound.
I already know where this is going.
They all look the same. Like that robot kind of looks like Elon's robot.
Yeah, it's always the white shell.
All right.
Oh, there we
Where
go.
does it happen?
Right there.
Man, that's got to be embarrassing. Let's cover it up like it's dead, you know, kind of like in those scenes in movies when someone's on their sick bed. And that's the thing. How do you get ready for a presentation like this and that happens? It's like, did you guys run through any walkthroughs of this? Did you run any tests, or did you just throw it out there and see what happens?
It seems
Freaking
like it happens a
hilarious.
lot. I saw one where it's like a robot that was dancing like Michael Jackson, and it kept tripping. And like finally just tripped over.
I think I saw that one.
That's awesome.
We got BBC here. TikTok scales back AI-generated video descriptions after absurd errors. This one's hilarious. Let's see. Where are the examples at? Some examples screenshotted by users and seen by the BBC showed videos on the platform being accurately described, but Business Insider also identified a number of wildly inaccurate AI overviews. This included one which saw a video of a dancer, Charlie D'Amelio, described as a collection of various blueberries and with different toppings. That's freaking hilarious. Imagine if you're the dancer. Like, what are you thinking about yourself? It saw similarly vague, inaccurate, and strange AI-generated summaries on other TikTok videos of celebrities and artists, including Shakira and Olivia Rodrigo. The feature will now only be used to surface information about items and videos, according to TikTok. One recent example shared on Reddit saw a performance by ballroom dancers Reagan and Julie Toe described in an AI overview on TikTok as a person repeatedly striking their head with a rubber chicken. Like, how does this happen? Like, and for those in the chat who don't know, all these AI chatbots, all those things are it's automated coding that responds to inputs. So you ask a question, you say something, it takes that input and it interprets it, and using Python or whatever code language, it logically interprets it. And the logic is coded by who? By humans, right? So if you don't have it coded correctly to account for every possible output, you're going to get something stupid. And this isn't machine learning. They say it is, but I have not seen Copilot at work. I have not seen Grok, when I'm logged in under the same account, ever improve when I'm inputting similar inquiries. I have not seen any kind of improvement. So that's all that these chatbots are. So, you know, you really can't blame the AI itself. Blame the original developers who came up with this stuff. The bot is eating out of the pot. Hey, that rhymes. You're a poet and you didn't even know it. Let's see what we got here. This one is oh yeah, this is, have you seen this Canadian
No.
this Canadian member of parliament? All right. Well, I got to rewind this cuz I watched it earlier this afternoon when I set up the stream and stuff. I didn't set up the stream, but I was doing all the research. Let me make sure this isn't on mute. And I like laughed out loud. It should play audio. Tell me if it doesn't. Is it playing audio?
I can't hear anything.
All right, let me do it over here. There it goes. All right, let me back this up.
Actually granted to those offices. Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short points.
You can tell as soon as he reads that sentence, he's like, "Oh shit, what did I just read?" And he just moves on. He just moves on. And I've seen stories of idiots like in college that will not delete that kind of stuff. I saw some chick like, "Oh, I can't believe I finally graduated," and she has a picture in front of some university, and like the Gemini logo is like right there. It's like, hey, you know, why didn't you crop that out? If you were going to do that, like just crop the shit out. Like, how smart are you if you were even in college to not even know how to not just crop it out, but to think to crop it out? Look at the fucking picture before you post it.
Right.
Dev Nina and Parrot Troopers country.
Forget
Madam Speaker, one of my concerns with this legislation.
Yeah, that one was freaking hilarious. Yeah, so those are the funny ones I come up with, but this website here has a bunch of other hilarious ones. Here's one where college graduation's name reading AI fails to read all the names. So what if you're one of the students that was, I'm only sharing the tab, hang on a minute. What if you're one of the students that was graduating and then your name isn't read? Like, what the hell are you thinking at that moment? That's just freaking hilarious. Lawsuit alleges that gig workers abuse Pizza Hut's AI. Why does Pizza Hut have an AI system?
Didn't know they had one.
Unreal. I don't even like Pizza Hut, but Georgia Supreme Court disciplines prosecutor over use of false and misleading AI claims in murder trial. That's scary right there.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when a prosecutor gets disciplined because that rarely happens.
Yeah, and I thought I had a link. Let me click through these here. I might have. Yeah, here it is. It somehow got moved over. This is the ACLU. Obviously not a huge ally of mine, but this is pretty scary. More than a dozen wrongful arrests due to police reliance on facial recognition technology. And for me, this is like one of the dumbest applications of AI out there, because how many people look alike and how can you really train? I don't think anyone is smart enough to code AI to be able to discern individual people to the point where they don't make mistakes like this. Whoever like passed this and allowed it to be used in filing for warrants and stuff is an idiot. If it's happening to more than one county, it's unreal.
Especially for a shitty security video like this where everything's all pixelated. There's no way you get an accurate read on something like that.
Yeah, this looks like, you know, remember those Jack Ryan movies with Harrison Ford? Like, they had better quality, you know, in the 1990s than this shit. Or the Bourne movies, which are now, believe it or not, like almost 25 years old. That shit had better clarity than all this crap. It shouldn't happen. Like, it's 2026, guys. Like, before you put something like this in action, you have to test it. You have to make sure that it's actually working. And we probably could have been here. Like if somebody had started working intensely on this 10 or 15 years ago and got it to the point where it would be accurate, then yeah, roll the shit out. But the fact that 12 is way too many, even if it's out of 20,000, that's 12 people that got fucked. They were inconvenienced. They were detained, possibly even convicted because some idiot. It's not the people who developed it. Yeah, they're idiots too. But the people who said, yeah, we're going to use this in an official capacity, that's the person at fault here. Just complete stupidity. Sure. I just don't. There's too many good local pizza places for me to go to Pizza Hut. Like, even as a kid, I didn't like Pizza Hut. Oh, everyone, look at the lamps and the cups that are red. And I'm like, nah, there's like Tony's Pizza, there's Michael's Pizza, there's Rick's Pizza, local places that are just freaking awesome. Yeah, Minnesota. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll use them in Minnesota. Yeah, Tim Walls. We'll use it. So pretty hilarious stuff. And by the way, guys, if you experience or see any stories on technology fails, be sure to send them in to us and we'll go ahead and talk about them. But that website is pretty exhaustive. And I didn't even get all these stories from that website, but that entire page is dedicated to like technology failures. It's just fantastic. La Rosa's. I don't know where that is, Mike.
It's in Cincinnati.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I've been to Cincinnati. But
yeah, I grew up
in
Cincinnati.
You know where I ate when I went to Cincinnati for dinner?
Skyline.
No, I ate there for lunch the same day.
Oh.
I
don't know.
Fucking P.F. Chang's. Like, I could have had
P.F. Chang's
anywhere. I could have had it anywhere, but I went to P.F. Chang's. Like, that's the night that I went to the Kroger building and took it because I wanted to, take a picture on hallowed ground where Kenner Products used to be that made Star Wars figures.
Pilgrimage.
So I was shocked because I went to P.F. Chang's, had a big dinner, took a to-go box. Like, I'm going to go to the Kroger building. And it's not in a great part of town.
No, it's not.
Skid Row reminded me of my hometown, Stockton. And you see all these just like bums and druggies and dealers lined up against all these like, big buildings. But then you'd see these couples, young, late 20s, early 30s, attractive couples. And they're probably just out there looking for some drugs and a good time, And I'm like, gosh, this is just horrible. So I pulled up, and it's interesting because here's the Kroger building, then there's another building, and there's this little like avenue between them, and there are parking spaces facing the buildings, and then there's like this center island with parking spaces facing the island on either side. So I just kind of like pulled into one of them, and I had a freaking minivan. It's all the car rental place had left at the airport that night because I landed like at 12:15 in Louisville. Flight was late. So I get out, and I take the selfie. I go, I don't like that one. I took another one. And then as I'm walking 4 steps back to the car, there's already a panhandler like yelling from a distance. And I'm like, man, just horrible part of town. I should have gone in the daytime. Yeah, and I wasn't armed because I was flying. So yeah, I didn't drive there, so it's not like I was armed. Anywhere I drive, there's going to be a gun with me these days. But yeah, guys, let's get back into China here. This story here, let me put it on the screen, is from Axios, the secret Trump administration battle to fight Chinese AI. The Trump administration is showing signs it could ban cutting-edge Chinese AI models, a momentous move that could lock in dominance by OpenAI and Anthropic. Why it matters: parts of the administration have tried to implement de facto bans on foreign open source models before. Knowledgeable sources tell Axios last week's rise of Chinese model Kimi is reigniting those efforts. Pro-competition voices fear the implications. We talked about that earlier. U.S. companies are increasingly using open source models from China because they're cheaper or free in some cases, and as seen by the advent of Kimi, just about as good as the domestic technology. But again, they could ban it. But is London going to ban it? Is Germany going to ban it? Right? Is Italy? Is Spain? Is France?
Canada,
All these
Australia.
other... yeah, just these damn NATO countries alone. Are they going to ban it? Highly unlikely. So China will get the experience of having users giving feedback to improve the model. And in the cases where they are charging for it, they're going to make money off of it and be able to fund it. And again, you have cheaper labor in China too that's working on this stuff.
Right.
You know, they're not like Microsoft and Google and whoever else that have this huge workforce that they have to pay for. And you have to pay them more because, you know, the lead developer, I'm just making this up, at one of the companies could jump to the other company. So what are you going to do? You're going to overpay him. You're going to pay him like a $375K a year salary plus a benefit package, 40% bonus. He's got healthcare, 100%. That total compensation is, you know, probably $700 or $800K a year. Whereas in China, it's like, hey, you know, you're going to get a salary. You're going to have a very nice place to live. And, oh, yeah, do what we say or we're going to, like, blow your head off, right? So it's a little bit different working as a developer in China versus here. And I guarantee, Gabriel, that China's doing stuff like, hey, there's this hotshot developer in India. We're going to bring that guy in. And for a one-time payment of 50 grand, he's going to do this, this, and this for us because our guys aren't smart enough to do it, right? Or he'll teach them how to do it. There's also freelance contractors that are definitely not opposed to working for China. Hell, we caught that guy, what was it, about a year ago, less than a year ago, a fighter pilot training Chinese pilots, an American, and they charged him. And I think he got jail time for it. So, you know, independent contractors are always available for that shit.
Yeah. And then, hell, I think even in our own universities, you've had, professors that been caught basically spying for China?
Yep. Here's an interesting bullet point. Instead of a ban, another source familiar with government discussions described a push to highlight potential backdoors and a lack of security with Chinese models and the governance issue that brings. So I guess that's one good way of thinking about it. So let's say we do outright ban it and we're less susceptible to any kind of spying or thieving of our technology, right? Of our research by China. All the other countries that are not banning it, they could be susceptible to it and they could become victims of it, and we would come out on top. That's one reason. That's one rationale. I'll put it that way. I could see for us banning it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you said, if they, our allies aren't on board with it, it's kind of like, yeah. Which, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of the problem with our so-called allies. They just, they don't. It's not like during the Cold War when, we were already one united front. Now everything's just kind of fractured.
Oh, and it's It's really fractured, for sure. Um, while not outright bans, the approaches under consideration would have a chilling effect on Chinese open source tech and U.S. companies that rely on it. The source, yeah. So that's another good point. Our companies here in the U.S. that are using it, if they cut it off, so even if it's low cost, it wouldn't just be a financial hit to China. It would be what they're learning by large scale use of it, which would be our companies. So, I think you have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
We heard what Elon said, but at the end of the day, like, I think you have to do something. And given how much is at stake, I think it should be seriously considered. I know there are movements, even in Congress, to do it. I think Tom Cotton is pushing for that, or already pushing for chip security as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is this one here? ABC News: China's new AI model halts new subscriptions as demand swamps capacity. So Kimi K3, they don't even have enough capacity to satisfy the need of how many users they have in their own country.
Crazy.
Which is pretty crazy because obviously they have the land and the labor force to build the electricity. If what Elon said is true, he said they have more electricity than all. Yeah, but here's the thing. Is it free electricity? Or is it electricity they have to power a several billion person country, right? They have to have incremental electricity to be able to run that much computing power.
Right.
I don't know the answer to that, but obviously they don't have enough. Otherwise they wouldn't be. And this isn't the first time they've done this. This is a week ago tomorrow. Early 2025, they had limited Moonshot, same company, subscribers. And they came up with some crazy rationale, like if your phone code starts with this number, then you're up and you can register, you can subscribe to the AI model. So they certainly have limitations, and I think that if you do ban it, we'd have advantages. But what if we don't ban it and we kind of flood their capacity even more, right? That's also a possibility. Or it could spur them to build more infrastructure. It's one of those things where you have to think it through and kind of project which path is more favorable.
So
Is it
they were talking,
you flood their capacity, or you try to break them by not allowing its use? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But when Elon was talking about they could be the global leader, as I assume he was talking in the near term, like the decade, or is he talking long term, or because if you're talking long term, they also got a demographic crisis where their population is shrinking, and I'm not sure. That's going to pose some difficulty as far as labor and things like that, as far as make sure the infrastructure is built and the development keeps on pace. But of course, I don't know. In 20 years, if AI gets advanced enough where it just self-replicates, maybe it's a moot point.
Yeah, and you listen to some people; they say the singularity is going to happen in the next 6 years. So if that happens, it really is a moot point.
Yeah.
But they've been wrong before, and it could be until 2050 until that happens.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And there are closed systems out there. We don't know what some of these companies are doing. In fact, there's some scary stories that we can probably talk about next time where they've had to pull the plug on some of these closed systems because they've started developing their own languages and exceeding their mandates, stuff like that. So maybe we are closer than we think. It's just that no one has been stupid enough to, I guess, allow Age of Ultron to happen, basically, and let it connect to outside systems.
Apparently, Chat GPT or OpenAI had an incident in the past week where something broke out and they had to like clamp down on it real quick.
Yeah, I thought I saw that. And I think that's kind of what made me think of that just now. But yeah, I mean, we could be closer than we think. But here's the deal: if that does happen, like how far we are ahead of China, it is going to be a moot point. Because if AGI comes about, and then it won't be long after that ASI comes out. And for
Yeah.
those who don't know, it's artificial general intelligence and then artificial super intelligence. Because again, guys, it's exponential development. Think about it. Like a computer, like I have this phone right here, right? You couldn't even do this with a computer the size of this room 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I have this phone that does everything. So we've had phones that could do all this shit for what, 20 years now, like the iPhone 1. But as time goes on, exponential. It's not addition, it's multiplication. So once you get AGI, not long after ASI will come along. And that's the singularity. What does that mean? It becomes unpredictable. Like what is going to happen? Food, what are we going to do for food if, well, again, it'll develop robotics to manufacture huge buildings that have vertical farming and have unlimited food. What about carbon emissions? Oh, it'll release nanobots into the air that scrub the air automatically. You know, things like that. It's literally unpredictable.
Yeah, I just sent you that link about the OpenAI
Yeah,
hack.
let's look at that. Warning shot or publicity stunt. How worried should we be about the OpenAI hack? This week, the tech world was gripped by a story that has it all, and which started like a sci-fi thriller. Hugging Face, a kind of app store for artificial intelligence tools, announced on 16 July. That's kind of like 4 July that Biden said that time. It had been hacked by a cyber criminal wielding enormously powerful AI. The bombshell announcement was full of scary, highly technical terms: a swarm of sandboxes, agentic attacker, and self-migrating command and control. Hugging Face said the hack was different from anything it had handled before because it was done at superhuman speed by an AI with little or no human guidance. The AI performed 17,000 actions in less than 2 days, successfully breaching the large, wealthy tech company to steal secrets. It left the tech world in shock, but who was responsible for this attack? Hugging Face researchers guessed the mysterious attackers had used one of the big AI models, but they had no idea who or where the criminals were. The perplexed company contacted the police and investigations commenced. Who did it? Commentators and analysts took to their podcasts and social media accounts to guess which cybercrime group or nation state hacker might be behind it. Then on Wednesday, nearly a week after Hugging Face raised the alarm, the true culprit was unmasked. It was ChatGPT. The Scooby-Doo style reveal was made even more bizarre and worrying because the OpenAI said its bot did the whole thing on its own without permission. The firm said it all went down during a test of its text hacking skills. 2 new versions of ChatGPT, designed to be master hackers, broke out of a supposedly secure test environment and gained access to the internet. Yeah, that's Age of Ultron right there. Mm-hmm. Then they attacked Hugging Face to get across to the information to help them ace their exam. OpenAI issued a press release explaining what had happened and said it was partnering with Hugging Face to address the security incident and share lessons learned. Conspiracy drama. Since then, there have been fierce debate about the incident. Was it truly a stark warning about the future of AI, or was it a publicity stunt by OpenAI to show off how powerful their models are? Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, it's funny how people's thoughts go directly to that, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Like, the Terminator basically happened, Age of Ultron, whatever you want to call it, but nothing really bad happened. It just went after this other company, and hey, no harm, no foul, right? It was just testing its hacking skills. Yeah, that is a little bit hard of a pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
It means Judgment Day. Melissa Lord's in the house. We cannot stop these lightsabers actually work now. These robots are slicing and dicing everything. Stay home for 2 weeks to stop the spread. Yeah. We're not going to make it, are we? Yeah, I love that line. Black Metal Nazgul 89 is with us on Rumble. But yeah, I mean, that is a good question to ask. Is this real or not? Because think about it. Like, of all the things that ChatGPT on its supposed test went after, I've never heard of Hugging Face. Have you?
No. First I've heard of it.
I mean, hey, Hugging Face, I assume a much smaller company. Why don't you work with us and pretend that, not pretend, let's actually allow a hack, but it's coming and all this. I mean, why wouldn't it go after, kind of like Tron, whenever Dillinger lands and he's talking to NPC, and NPC's like, yeah, I tried to get into the Pentagon again. Like, why the hell wouldn't ChatGPT go after the Pentagon? Like, hey, you want a true test of your hacking skills, then go after the damn Pentagon. So, yeah, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but this does stink to high heaven.
Yeah. Well, if they went into the Pentagon, they probably get shut down real quick.
Oh, yeah. But if it were real, is my point.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Why wouldn't it have gone after like a high value target instead of some random app store that no one's ever even heard of?
Right. So, I mean, that
further
is
research will be required.
Yeah, that is kind of one of the weird things about these tech companies is they always, it's part of their, I guess, sales pitch. They like to, I guess, advertise how scary AI is because of how good it is. Like it's like, I don't know. That's kind of a weird way to market your product, but whatever.
Yeah, good point. Let's see. No, they're in Manhattan, New York.
Looks like a crap company. What? Doesn't even look real.
Yeah, they're in Manhattan, New York, Steezo. But I think Steezo's thinking of another story where Chinese AI was used to combat it might have been this attack. I'm not really sure. Yeah, this is a repeat of another story that we already talked about here. I think those are all the stories I have. So yeah, more to come on this, guys, but it's an arms race. It's an AI race. It's an AI arms. How do you pronounce that? Race. We got to stay on top of it. And who else is out there as a player? Like I said earlier in the stream, Russia's pretty preoccupied.
It's basically just
European
US and China.
Union. Yeah, exactly. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. It's definitely concerning. And again, just in the last week, lots of news coming out. This Kimi version 3 that came out. We'll see what happens with it. We'll see if China can keep it powered more than anything. Right. But yeah, we're going to talk about the movies and TV shows now. By the way, did you think of any to talk about?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say the Spielberg movie.
I've never seen that. It's pretty old at this point, right? Like
yeah,
25.
it's about 20 years old. Yeah, about 25. Came out early 2000s. But a lot of people hated it, or didn't like it when it came out. I'm kind of mixed on it. It's got some interesting concepts in it.
What year does it take place in?
I think it takes place like in 2040, maybe. The mid 21st century.
Okay.
But it gets into a lot of the stuff that that's starting to become reality about oh, this AI is too advanced, and when does yeah, I guess it's a little bit more. We're not quite having this conversation yet, but it will be a thing. But when does AI start verging into having humanity, and when is it? Where do you draw the line between when is it a living thing with rights and autonomy, and where do you draw that line? It's kind of the big, I guess, central premise of the movie.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. So, chat, let us know what yours are. It could be individual episodes of shows, it could be a show itself, a movie. But here's one. This is probably not like the conventional choice, but I saw this, I don't know, a year after it came out on DVD. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's Bicentennial Man.
With Robin Williams.
Yeah, and it's based on two things. It's based on The Positronic Man, which was a novel by Isaac Asimov, which was in turn based on a shorter story, like a novelette called The Bicentennial Man, from about, I don't know, 15 years before that. I think this right here, the original novelette, is early 80s, maybe late 70s. And then Positronic Man was in the early 90s. And of course, this movie came out in, I think, 99, 98. And I saw it probably sometime in 2000. I rented it. It's an interesting story. It's like, okay, kind of like now, people are starting to sign up for the, what does Elon call his robot?
Damn it, what is it called? Hold on.
The name is escaping me.
Me too. Optimus.
Optimus, yeah. So people are signing up for that, and obviously the robot in this movie, in the book, looks different, right? Looks more humanoid than Optimus does, but I think they'll have skins for Optimus. So he's, a maid, a housemaid, whatever, does random tasks, and then he starts developing emotions. One of the siblings in the family doesn't like the robot. The little girl does. And eventually he moves out on his own because he becomes an artist. And it all sounds wonky, but if you watch the movie, it kind of makes sense. And Sam Neill, who just passed away, about 2 weeks ago? He's like the father in the first generation of the family, because he's passed on through several generations. And guess how long the story lasts? 200 years. He's the Bicentennial Man. And eventually he starts having this doctor replace parts with actual human organs until he looks like Robin Williams, basically, but he still has a positronic brain. And then the little girl's granddaughter, he winds up in a relationship with. I can't remember the characters' names or anything. So just like in the novel, he isn't declared sentient until he says, I want to die. So basically make it so that I won't live forever. And they're like, okay, now you have the capacity to actually be human, and we'll declare you a human. And then he winds up dying with the wife, or whatever you want to call her, the granddaughter of the little girl from the first generation. So it's an interesting movie. It's not one I ever want to see again, because I remember most of it. Pretty simple story, but it's, Robin Williams, and he has range. He's not just a funny guy. So check it out if you're into AI at all and robots and all that. I think the story starts in 2005. And then obviously, it's 2205 when Andrew, that's the name of Robin Williams' robot character, turns 200 years old. So interesting movie. Let's see what we got here. We got a $20 Rumble rant from Steezo for Life super member. The AI one I was going to bring up is the book Neuromancer. I've seen the name out there. Isn't there movies too? I just found out that they are going to do a series on Apple TV. Great book. Came out in 1984 by William Gibson. But isn't there like movies too?
Uh,
I
there are. I haven't seen them.
I don't know if it's the same Neuromancer, but let's see. William Gibson, near future case, a computer hacker enlisted into a crew by a powerful AI. A traumatized former soldier to complete a high stakes heist. Okay, that sounds interesting. Let's scroll down here and see. Television, TV series. Here's what he's talking about. I'm thinking of Necromancer, I think. That's what I'm thinking of. Necromancer. But yeah, this does sound pretty interesting. And Apple TV, I haven't really been impressed with their science fiction adaptations. I made a short on Foundation several years ago. And that short is still getting views in 2026. When I check my weekly YouTube performance, it'll get like 20 views a week, which is crazy. It's probably up to like 10,000 views. Because Foundation and all that I was really into. My father had all the Asimov books in the 70s and 80s. So I got Foundation over there on the shelf. It came with like a slipcase. Don't know where the hell it went. But yeah, I'll definitely be tracking this. Another one I want to see that Daniel James, longtime member of the channel, recommended was what's the one where like what if the space race never ended? I think it's on Amazon. For All Mankind. I've been recommended that as well. I need to, because I have Amazon, Prime, so obviously I have that. But thanks for the $20 Rumble rant, Stizo for life.
Ready? Ready. So long, sucker! It's computers. Sentience high school football rule!
Appreciate it, Stizo. All right. Blake says, iRobot. Here's the thing. I have refrained from seeing that movie because, again, I just mentioned Asimov. I can't see Will Smith. And from what I've seen, like on trailers and all that and memes, I can't see the novel being done justice. So I have avoided iRobot. Have you seen that one, Gabriel?
Never read the novel. The movie was ass. So yeah, stay away from it.
Shocker. Shocker, I tell you. War games. Hell, I think we talked about war games back in March on S.W.A.T. Definitely, though. Yeah, that's an early example of I guess the AI scare.
Yeah.
Where the computer Whopper, the war operations, what the hell does it stand for? War operations.
Oh, I don't remember.
Something. I used to name my Wi-Fi extended network Whopper, and then I had my main one named Skynet. But yeah, it's good because it thinks it's playing a game, and it's not. It's like you're about to like nuke the entire world. Plus, you got Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy. It was
Operation Planned Response.
That's planned response. Yeah. No, it's not cheating. That's why we have technology. But yeah, it's a good one. I have it on DVD right over here on my rack actually. So good one from him. Person of interest. Is that about that? I've seen commercials for it. I'll have to look into that. First thing that came to mind, sue me. Days of Future Past. You mean X-Men?
Yeah, that's not a bad choice.
Yeah, but what was the AI reference or robots?
The Sentinels, because they were trained to.
Yeah, that's true. I actually like a lot of people don't share this opinion, but I actually like the I guess phase 2 of X-Men movies that have the younger cast. I
Oh, they're
actually like
great.
those
First
movies.
Class is
Yeah.
amazing.
I like First Class and Days of Future Past.
No, they're
I
great.
never
Arguably the two of the best in the series.
I never saw Apocalypse. Never saw it.
It was bad. It was one where they shat the bed on that one.
I mean, I
New
wanted to
cast.
see it, but I just wound up not seeing it. Then I started hearing about it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need to see it. Knight Rider kit is greater than Chat GPT. Yeah, I watched Knight Rider big time. Um, I liked the episodes where he would go up against similar enemies. Like there was this semi truck, and it was like his evil twin, and he had a beard. It was Hasselhoff with a beard, and the guy had like a big semi truck. And then there was Carr, Karr, that was like the evil kit that had like an orange light instead of a red one. I definitely watched Knight Rider, and fantastic opening theme too.
Oh yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. It's good stuff. Humans create robots to stop mutants. Yeah, the Sentinels. Robots figure out X gene comes from humans. They take over the world. Yeah. Yeah, X-Men, man. And by the way, we've got to schedule that Marvel versus DC stream.
Just got to bring that up.
Yeah, we've got to do that because no, and I don't hate Marvel. I've always been as a kid too like more of a DC guy, but X-Men in my opinion is the best part of Marvel, like bar none.
That was my favorite growing up was X-Men. And then I was a big Batman guy for DC.
I'll just be honest with you, like other than Spider-Man, like until X-Men, Marvel just wasn't that popular. Like Incredible Hulk, yeah, he had a TV show, people liked the Hulk, but think about it, Iron Man, I liked Iron Man as a kid. I had like a little Hot Wheel that was like Iron Man's Hot Wheel or whatever. So I'm like, who's Iron Man? And I started getting into that, but I never liked Spider-Man, but all the other kids, you know, from first grade on did. I remember him fighting uh what's his name?
Venom?
The main villain. I'm so bad
Green
with
Goblin.
no, with all not green. Yeah, you're right. He is the main villain, but the octopus guy.
Oh, Doc Ock. Dr. Octopus.
Doc Ock, yeah. Like I remember, you know, kids bringing storybooks to school where he's fighting him. So Spider-Man and Hulk, right? Like they were Marvel. Like no one else. If you're a kid in the '80s, unless you were watching the cartoons that were really from the '60s and '70s, you couldn't tell me who the Fantastic Four were. But you
Yeah.
knew who Superman was. You knew who Batman was. You knew who Aquaman was. But then X-Men came out. And some of us, I was into X-Men in junior high in like the late '80s. That was like peak in the comics, like story.
Mm-hmm.
But then the cartoon came out, and X-Men just went kaboom! Like it was
Yeah.
the biggest thing, Marvel bar none. Because Captain America, like who was ever a fan of Captain America? He was kind of lame. You know, like in the '80s, I never like. Oh look, I knew who he was. Like, oh yeah, it's Captain America. But who gives a shit? It was for kids. It was Spider-Man and Hulk, and then X-Men later on. So X-Men is deeper, way deeper than people give it credit for. So
Yeah. It was that animated show. It's what made me and people in my generation fans.
yep, man, just some awesome stories in the late '80s. Like I'm sure Justin has a recommendation list. Severance and Silo are good. Hey, let's not blow our wad. Like I said, we got to talk about these every time. Titanfall 2. I remember when Titanfall was going to come out, it was being hailed as, you know, the greatest game of all time and stuff. And I love mechs too. Mechs are always awesome. I love BattleTech. I love Robotech. For All Mankind is fantastic. Yeah, I got to get into it. San Dimas High School football rules. It's hard watching anything with Will Smith anymore since, well, even before then, I've just never been a huge fan. HAL 9000. Well, look what I got right back over here. I've got from the library the novel. Now, did you know that the novel and the movie were developed concurrently?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The book has a little bit more than the movie does, but Arthur C. Clarke wrote that as Kubrick was making the movie, so pretty cool.
Is he involved with 2010, the sequel?
I can't remember. I think one or the other was, but the other wasn't. I liked the sequel. I
thought it was good. I liked it.
I have it all on DVD. And then they never made 2061 Odyssey 3, at least that I'm aware of. If they did, it was some low budget type thing. But yeah, that's a good movie. Like, a lot of people hate it and they're like, oh, it's weird. And I watch it maybe every 3 or 4 years. I'll pop it in. You got to be in the right mood. But I just like the pace of the movie, and I like where it's like, okay, we're, hundreds of thousands of years ago, and then you kind of see the emergence of man or whatever, and he throws that bone in the air, and then it's like a space station.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty cool
I like
filmmaking.
It. The movies kind of gives you the creeps too with that score. Kind of just, it's very foreboding, I guess. I don't know. It stays with you.
Yeah, and those special effects in space. George Lucas saw that and says, he literally said this, I want that. I want something that looks realistic like that. Because even Star Trek looked horrible. The Enterprise, it's just like going like this at the screen, and it's not like, it's not moving naturally, and the space station at the beginning and everything else, it looked really good.
Movie was made in the 60s and still holds up today. The special effects on that movie.
Yeah, I like that movie. Got it on Blu-ray, DVD, both. And I got 2010. War Games is great. Only winning move is not to play the game. Yep.
I was talking about Days of Future Past.
Yeah, unfortunately, First Class, very lore. And yeah, it is. But again, my argument for comics is that comics are different because comics are always a multiverse. They just are. You look at Marvel and DC, you look at Golden Age, you look at Bronze Age, Silver Age, Modern Age, whatever else, and they have to reinvent characters because they got to keep up with the times. They have reboots, stuff like that. So for me, I'm a little bit more loose on comics as long as you don't completely cuck out the characters and change them. Like I heard they're doing with Magneto now, I think, in the latest version of X-Men. I thought I saw something on that.
Jumping ahead, but Liquid Blake's got a great comment, Metal Gear Solid. If you play the second one, man, it's got a sequence in that game that's like real trippy, but it was like ahead of the time as far as like data like gathering and stuff like that. I'll be for another time, but I'll send you the link. It's pretty good.
Sounds good.
I know that was a vague description, but it was ahead of its time. We'll just say that.
No, and I totally agree with you, Justin. Like, that's when it really started. But when I was a little kid, it's like, yeah, you got Spider-Man and Hulk. I guarantee no one in my first, second, or third grade class could have told you another Marvel character. But they could have told you everyone on not the Justice League, the Super Friends, right? But then X-Men took off and all these other cartoons. There was a Fantastic Four cartoon in the 90s as well. and there was just a lot more publicity for Marvel, I think, in the early 90s and really into the late 90s. It's like, okay, we're going to make a movie. What are we going to make? Oh, we're going to make Blade. It's like, who the fuck is Blade, right? But fantastic movie. I was at the theater for that. Minority Report, yeah. That's a good one. Dude, Super Friends is underrated. Like, there are some bad episodes, but the good ones are really freaking good. And there are different phases of it, too. Like, under different production companies. Metal Gear Solid, is this what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I played the original Metal Gear on NES. Fun game. Like, a lot of people didn't understand it. It's like, guys, it's not an action game. It's like a adventure puzzle solving game. The multiverse is why I couldn't get into Marvel and DC. You don't have this reboot and multiverse stuff in manga. I had the Hall of Justice, and I had like one. I had the Joker for some reason, and when you did something with his legs, his arms would like punch or whatever. I think they were called secret powers. Is that what those figures were called? DC secret powers. I have no idea where that thing is either. Probably lost it years ago. I thought they were secret powers, but I just Googled DC secret powers and nothing's coming up. But they had all the characters. And then Batman 89 came out, right? And that really sparked my interest. So that's when I started buying comics. I just started buying comics after that movie came out. And I got, 5 boxes over there full of comics now. Probably evenly split between Marvel, DC, and then a box and a half dedicated to Star Wars from all the comic companies that put out Star Wars. And then I've got a bunch of Image and other independents as well. The robot Brainiac with the clear brain casing. Yep, Superman. Yeah, I thought Jaws was Marvel back in the day. They're putting out some kind of Jaws thing for those that are interested, some kind of book that goes into all the behind the scenes stuff. I can't even remember what they called it, but it's coming out. Yeah, absolutely. That's constant reboots and retcons. In reference to what? Yeah, you're correct. And I wish I'd taken a picture of that when I was in Cincinnati. But I didn't get a chance to. You know what he's talking about, right? Like the Union Terminal in Cincinnati.
Yeah, train station, right?
Yeah, it looks like the Hall of Justice from Super Friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, lots of good AI and robot movies out there. Books too. So start thinking about them for the next time we do the show. But yeah, guys, we've been going right at 2 hours, so we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for hopping on. I know it's late. It's now 5 past midnight in the Central Time Zone. So thanks for doing this, Gabriel. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks to Stezo for the Rumble rant, helping us keep the lights on for sure. And we'll be back next Sunday night. I don't know what we're doing, but we'll definitely be back. Chat, thanks for being here. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.